Welcome back to another episode of the Healthy with Heartland podcast. My name is Justin Freistadt. I am your host and joined with your favorite creative directors today as well, Simon and Shannon. Hey, how we doing, fam?
It's another healthy day with Heartland. I love having the music.
It's a lot better with the music.
Right? It's much more fun.
Yes. So we got a great topic today. We're going to be talking about the top tier mastermind, what we got coming up on deck next. And if you have questions, throw them in the comments, ideas for the mastermind. If you attended the very first one on Monday, tell us how you liked it. And we're going to get into that topic in a minute. But first, we're going to send it over to Simon and Shannon for some announcements.
All right. Welcome back, Heartland family. It's a pleasure seeing y'all this morning. You can restock from home without the hassle. So there's a couple more days to take advantage of our reorder special for January. You can get the crock pot bundle with your reorder absolutely free. So take advantage of that. It's a pot roast with some A1 steak sauce, some mixed vegetables. It's a super easy slow cooker meal. And with that, let's get into the podcast.
Yes. Awesome. So we just came out of an awesome mastermind, by the way. Shout out to Justin. That was pretty awesome. I think the greatest thing about it, too, was the community behind it. Like, just seeing all the people that were there and just seeing that, like, hey, like, there is a community of people that, you know, they want to eat better. They want to, you know, track macros. They want to dive into this healthy lifestyle. Yeah. And I thought it was awesome. I mean, what did you guys think?
Yeah, it was a fun time. I mean, it was interesting to see different people's perspective. And I know we talked a little bit about, our story and, our health and wellness journey and specifically weight loss. And a lot of other people are going through their own, health and wellness journey themselves. So it was interesting to hear kind of, where they're at in their journey and to get a little bit of insight, from Justin about, the basics and just healthy mindset around, eating in general. And we talked a little bit about the Cronometer app, which I had never heard of before or never used. So I got a lot of value out of it.
It was huge.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin? You being the facilitator, like the main guy, how did you feel about the whole thing?
It's just great to see, people interested.
Yep.
A lot of times when you're pretty deep in a topic like health and wellness, sometimes you feel like you're the only one who cares. And there's a select community of warriors who are buying into this stuff and that actually care. But I think a lot of people are interested, intimidated, not sure where to start. And that's kind of what we want to bring with this mastermind. So it doesn't matter what level you're starting from. If you're intimidated to come on to it because it's a Zoom meeting, you can keep your camera off. You can just hang out and watch and learn. And the whole point is just to take years and years of exposure of education and information and give it back. So that's just one more element of how we want to bring value to everybody in the Heartland family. And it's free, so show up when you can.
Drop the bomb for that.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of people who sell courses. I do that too. A lot of people who sell coaching. I do that too. And a lot of it's just there's no support. There's no way to take the information, come, ask questions, tweak, get better. And that's what we want to offer with this. So it's not just about selling stuff and monetizing information. It's really about giving back. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the other interesting aspect that I think is that people in that real life, not that we're face-to-face, we're virtual, obviously, but we're face-to-face in the sense that, if people have a question, it's not just like a YouTube video where you hope maybe someone answers your comment, they're getting, that personal experience from you specifically, from other people in the group, and they can ask those questions that, they may have not gotten answered otherwise.
Yep. Yeah, we can all learn from each other. That's the best part is when we're getting value from people that are on the meeting. Yeah. Right? From other people within the Heartland family, other customers that are giving us their experiences, maybe some things that are working for them, and we can all feed off each other and all of us learn. It's a great environment, and I'm excited to see it grow.
Yeah. It was so awesome. In the comments, people were even posting their experiences and just like little tidbits that, I mean, once you dive into something, you learn that you don't know enough, that there's so much more. There's a whole nother world to this health and wellness thing. And from other people's experiences, I think that you can even, take those experiences and level up, so to speak. It's almost like the coaching aspect. But I really love the community aspect of it. It was so awesome. Yeah. I think it was like super cool that you started something like that, to give back and to kind of allow people the opportunity to meet with other people and see that, hey, there is a group, there is a community of people who care about the same things that I care about, who want to go in the same direction that I'm going. And I'm excited to see it grow.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, if you're watching, if you're downloading this after, share it with your friends, share it with somebody you think, would enjoy talking about something like this.
Yeah. And the link is in the description, so definitely sign up. We'll send you the Zoom link, and you can be a part of, next Monday's meeting. And we're going to meet every Monday. We meet every Monday at 8 p.m. And like Justin said, you can come in your PJs. You can eat dinner while you're, watching. So there's so many ways you can participate. And another thing I wanted to just touch on is, we always preach bio-individuality and how everyone is different. And I think what's great about the group, too, is that everyone is in their own, in their own, how do I explain it? They're in their own area in their health and wellness journey. Maybe they're at the beginning, maybe they're super advanced and they already know what they're doing. So everyone brings their own piece of value, by their experience to the group.
It's wonderful. I mean, again, seeing everybody that was there, hearing the experiences from the people that were, that were talking, and then just seeing, like you said, you can just show up and community. You know what I mean? Break bread, so to speak. Just be there. Not bread, because that's a huge carb you probably don't want to be having.
That would get us over on our macros.
Ezekiel only.
Yeah, exactly.
Sprouted grain bread.
Right? I mean, so it was really cool to just see how all that kind of went down. And the one tidbit that I did get from, I'm not going to give you all the information that went on in the Top Tier Mastermind. You have to go back and watch it, right? But the one thing that, Justin brought up was the cronometer and going through the macros. Yep. And then it just gave me that I can't even say the word, revitalization as far as like peanut butter, right? Like that's the one thing that you love, but it's the one thing that probably, like, if you have more than a couple of teaspoons, your macros is blowing out of the window.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so much, like of the fat and protein and all those kind of things. And it just brought me to, like, again, a whole like realization that, like, a lot of the snacks and those things that you're probably having or drinking the calories as well, right? You could be drinking them, you could be eating them just on these little snacks and you don't even notice it, and it will blow your macros right out of the way. So it goes back to that same saying, a failure to plan is a plan to fail, right? If you don't have a plan, if you're not doing the journals, if you're not doing those things, it's out of the window.
Well, and to give a little context, like Justin basically pulled up the cronometer app and kind of showed us, how it works, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of self-explanatory, but it basically helps you track what you're eating, and you can log basically the stuff that you're eating, sort of like a diary, how Simon mentioned. And he kind of demonstrated that, maybe you decided to have a peanut butter sandwich at the end of the night and you didn't weigh out those,
not even the sandwich, it was without the bread.
Right. It was just the tablespoons of peanut butter. But yeah, just those little things can, drastically change the results that, in your mind you think you might be getting, but those small tweaks can make a huge difference.
Yeah. And on a basic level, it sounds like, okay, it's an app that tracks my food. But if you understand the science, this is why it's so important to show up to a mastermind meeting with a very open mind, because you are going to hear things that really challenge the information that you've received up until this point. And I know that was a big sticking point for me. I fought everything in the beginning because it's not that there's a closed mind state and an open mind state. There's no such thing as a closed mind. There's only a fixed mind, right? So you are just fixated on the information that you know to be true at the present moment, right? And the only way to progress in anything in life is to open it up and be willing to receive new information, unbiasedly evaluate, and then decide if you think it's valid or not. Because you've got keto diets, you've got paleo, you've got all these different diets.
Yep.
But what makes any of them work is science. Like, there's only one way to lose weight and gain weight, and it's science. So the science behind the cronometer app is doing a lot more than just tracking your food. It is making sure that you eat to a point where your hormones regulate. So your endocrine system is firing hormones the way it's supposed to. It's getting your entire body congruent so that you can actually start feeling great, making the transformation, looking a way you've never looked, making you feel a way you've never felt before. So knowing what's actually happening in your body really helps to say, okay, why am I going to track my food? Well, because when you don't, you're sending your insulin on a roller coaster. You are probably holding way too much body fat because estrogen is being created unnecessarily in your body and it's suppressing your testosterone. These are things that happen when you eat certain foods and you don't regulate. And eating not enough is one of the worst things you can do. That will suppress your hormones in itself. So this is a lot more than tracking food. It's stabilizing your body so that you can start moving in a healthy direction.
Yeah, that's huge. And another thing that you mentioned too is like, when you're tracking your food, if you're like, okay, now I want to eat something, I'm going to have X, and you put it in and you see what it's doing to your macros, you're like, actually, I'm really actually not that hungry. I'm probably not going to have that. And you know what I mean? It's a way to kind of check yourself and keep yourself in check as well.
Yeah. People will be like, oh, I'm eating paleo, eat a 12-ounce ribeye, you know? And then when you put it in the cronometer and you see how much actual fat you just consumed, well, maybe you'll have 6 ounces and save the other 6 ounces for steak and eggs tomorrow, and that'll be your fat for the day. You know, making little decisions like that over an extended period of time look completely different on you.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so true and so important. And I think it really speaks volumes to, like you said, bio-individuality, because every single person is going to be different. Your macros is going to look different than someone else's macros. The nutrients that you need is going to look different than somebody else's. And it's great to be able, because it's like a plan, right? So you could be thinking that you're doing the right thing and eating a certain type of way and really be doing yourself a disservice, right? Like really working against yourself.
Right.
Whereas with this cronometer, right, you have all of those things detailed for you, so you can actually see, oh, okay, this is where I'm missing it. This is where I'm hitting it. This is where, you know what I mean? Like I probably need more. I need to eat some more of this. And then I think the other great thing was you also get to see the type of calories and how full, because like if you eat a hard-boiled egg, just one of them, right? Because that's my go-to. Like when we're fasting or we're doing like some sort of diet or something, that amount of calories in that hard-boiled egg is like, it's like 100 and
it's like 80 calories.
80 calories, right? I thought it was like 105,
No.
but it's like 80 calories.
But it feels like more than if you ate a 100-calorie snack pack or whatever.
100%.
Because it's like, it's almost like empty calories. And, you know, I'm not talking bad on all 100-calorie snacks, you know, but it's going to feel more filling because those, you know, those calories are more nutrient dense.
Yeah, and I think that's so important when you're going through these sort of transitions and these, you know, these times that you're changing the way that you're eating, because you got to look for those little, you know, spikes, those little times when you're like, oh, am I actually hungry? And then when you are actually hungry, eating those things that's actually going to fulfill you, and not just, I mean, I do it all the time. Sometimes you're just eating a snack just because it's like the thing, like the feeling you get in your mouth, or you're just bored or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like when you're really dialed in and you're keeping track of everything and you're making sure, you know, you're eating the right things and you just feel better.
Yeah. It has to make sense to eat it.
Right. And you get to see it actually, you know, how much it's actually doing and what it's actually doing technically inside your body. Because they looked at like the amount of calories in what is this? The little not pistachios. Almonds, right?
Yeah.
The amount of calories in almonds versus the amount of calories in a Coke, right? In a soda, which one's better for you? What's doing what in your body, essentially, right? There's 100 calories or something in the Coke, and there's 100 calories in the almonds. Obviously, the almonds is going to do so much better in your body than the Coke is, and you're not even going to be that full. Like if you eat the nuts, it's so much more fulfilling than drinking them in the sugary sort of drink. Yeah,
it's hard to comprehend unless you've done macros and counted.
Right.
But the one can of Coca-Cola has more sugar and overall calories than a whole cup of rice. Yeah. Like what is going to satiate you longer? Like what?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like I could have 3 cups of rice or 3 sodas and I'm in the same place.
Oh yeah, no. I'm really bad because I'm one of those people where I just feel like I don't want to like drink my calories. So like I drink water, I drink sparkling water. Occasionally I'll have like a greens powder or something like that. But other than that, like that's all the liquids I'm consuming. Like I don't really like take protein powders. I don't really drink smoothies. I don't drink juice, soda, other than, you know, the occasional alcoholic beverage. I think that's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, that's one way you can, you have to turn off your alarm. That's one way you can help control, you know, the caloric intake that you get daily is by, you know, not drinking your calories as much as you possibly can.
Right.
It's so amazing how it works differently for different people.
Yeah.
Because
and that's just my personal opinion. It's not, you know, my recommendation.
What I've noticed for me, it's actually kind of the opposite. I wasn't getting enough nutrition just because I'm so busy on to the next thing, right? Zoom meeting starting at 6 a.m., you know, whatever it is. Like today, what is it, like 9:30?
Yeah.
The only calories I've had today were liquid calories so far. I had a protein shake before I went to the gym with the greens, the reds from First Form, and a scoop of Formula One, and a scoop of Ignition. So I got perfect macros of protein, carbs, glycogen replacement, all the good stuff I needed. It was all liquid, and it was just a quick shake, throw it down. I got my nutrition in, and I'm on to the next thing. So it's really like you said, bio-individuality, find what works for you.
Yep.
But not getting the nutrition, it's never an excuse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you take that, like, do you feel full, like satiated, but like not full, like, oh, I just ate a huge meal?
It's interesting. I feel better doing the liquid stuff
And eating like real food?
before working out. Yeah.
Oh,
I
definitely.
could see that.
And I've already had half a gallon of water this morning too.
That's,
Right.
Yeah, that's super important.
I'm on my second half gallon and it's 9:30.
Yeah.
You know. So
Water's huge. That's
I'm going to have 2 solid meals today. They're packed in the lunchbox, right? Each one has a half a pound of meat, a cup of green beans, and a cup of rice.
Nice.
And those will be my 2 solid meals. And I'm leaving myself plenty of macros for the end of the day. Like I love to snack when the day's over. But I eat popcorners, barbecue chips, like protein. It's like a protein shake molded into chips. It's great. Like you don't have to get rid of this stuff. I'll get Enlightened ice cream bars, 90 calories a bar. Like I can crush 2 of those and still have macros left. And I'm losing a pound of body fat every week. So, you know, there's a way to enjoy the intake and get the results.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I still haven't found anything to substitute for the alcohol, though. Right?
Nope.
So it's just don't do it.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
What are you
The
going to
wine,
have?
the
A
beer,
mocktail?
the-
That goes against everything I
You
just
can't.
said.
Yeah. You can't. It doesn't. It doesn't work. It
Nope.
doesn't work. It just you got to omit it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the decision. It's being consistent in those decisions. It's got to be like, hey, this is it. We're going this way, and don't look back.
I mean, it
kinda
makes a
deal.
huge difference. I mean, just on the topic of alcohol, like cutting that out, if you consume it frequently, will make such a huge difference.
Absolutely,
if you're, you know, if your goal is weight loss, and then pair that with good nutrition and, you know, exercise, you're golden.
But if anybody has any advice and they know and they can say, hey, you know, like this glass of wine is only 50
They do
calories.
have that. They have wines that are like low, like super low in sugar. Like I know that.
Yeah, but I saw the
Don
one on Joe Rogan's
D'Agostino.
podcast. Yeah, but it's like crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
You're like,
But I mean,
what?
it's
I
like
think Pinot
rather-
Noirs are lower in sugar.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just not on plan. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's
Like,
just
do you
not
really need
happening
it?
for me.
Yep.
I mean, I'm on day 32 of 0 cheats, 0 alcohol.
of 75.
Yeah, and it's interesting because every other program I've ever been on that allowed for cheat meals, it was way more miserable. You would think that it would be harder when you can't have any cheats at all.
Yeah.
But it's a very different shift in mindset. I am not looking forward to the bad habit.
Right.
I'm just happy to be in good habits.
Mm.
Very difficult to understand. I never understood it until I did it. Like 75 hard. If it seems like a mountain, it is, and that's the point.
Sorry.
And you should just do it.
See, that's huge. He's already accepted it though, right? Like
Yeah, we've talked
everything
about
that you're saying is like, I've accepted this. I know it's going to be hard.
But
Move
you're
on to the
But
next
you're
thing.
looking forward to it, and you sound like you have a
Right.
positive attitude about it. So
It was only hard for
That's
the
couple
first.
days, week or two.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sleep the first 4 days. I didn't realize how dependent I was on, you know, a glass of wine to go to sleep,
Right.
or, you know, I drank too much caffeine late in the day and then I needed some alcohol to go to sleep. Like I just
Right.
didn't sleep. And then I realized, okay, my hormones are all out of whack. Like I'm in this up and down pattern. I'm screwing everything up. And then now that I would say probably 14 days in, I mean, I fall asleep within 5 minutes. I sleep deeper, amazing. I don't wake up in a sweat ever anymore. And I can operate off 5-6 hours of sleep, and I'm up at 4 or 5 a.m. just ready to roll.
Boom.
And I'm just crushing these days. I feel amazing. I'm just telling you, it's worth it, and you won't want to go back to that old life.
Yep. It's, I mean, the sleep thing for me is huge.
Yeah.
Because if you're not a good sleeper, the one thing that you can do is alter your diet, change your diet, and you will see those days where you're just getting that good, just deep sleep. And it's so important. I feel like that's probably the one thing, along with drinking. I think we say that a lot. It's the one thing you need to be doing. Right? Drinking water, sleeping, eating right. All of those things,
Water
though, but they all really matter. But I feel like, again, just the sleep. I think there's so many people that are just neglecting like the mattress that you're sleeping on. Like the light, the amount of light that's in your room, the
Blue
temperature
light,
that's in your room.
Watching TV, looking at your phone, all those things. Yeah, and I mean,
It's affecting your sleep.
Recovery,
That's
mental health, hormones, like Justin mentioned. I mean, there's so many things that your sleep impacts.
Oh, and I'm inspired. I'm gonna try it, and maybe I'm gonna put it on Instagram or something, Justin. But we got this huge recycle bin that we,
Simon wants to turn it into a cold plunge.
Nice.
He's like, we're turning it into a cold plunge.
I saw these
like,
guys doing it on
oh
YouTube, and I was like, because I was like, oh man, like how could you do this at home? Like the cold shower, that's cool, but I'm like, it's really just going on your head, and it's not really like your entire body, your legs. Like we usually run and do like lower body exercise, and it's like my legs don't really feel the cold in the actual cold shower. So I feel like my chest and my arms,
your
they
head
always
gets
get it.
the tingle.
So I'm like, what can I do at home? Like, how can I do this at home? And then I saw these guys that were like, they took this big just trash bin. And I was like, I could fit in that. Just go grab a couple of bags of ice, fill it up with water, and then
I've
like
seen some
plunge in
cool
there.
stuff like on YouTube too. Like they have, like they're probably mad expensive, but like they have these, like the things you use to like put your grass and your lawn clippings in. Like, have you seen people using those? They like unfold. It's kind of like a laundry basket. Well, anyways, they make them and it's like a tarp material, and you like, I guess you put a tarp inside and then you fill it up with water, and so you could like do that. But I mean,
anything that you can fit in and fill with water.
Yeah, I guess you could consider.
They make those
bucket.
like big cold plunge barrels, and I looked at how much they cost, and I was like,
ridiculous.
the trash can idea
Yeah,
sounds way better.
That's what I'm like. I'm not gonna spend all that money on that. I just want to throw ice in here and some water.
And you're gonna dump it out.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with that. Our neighbors will be like, "You're crazy."
You know what's interesting about the cold plunge and just ice baths in general? I find that the cold shower is way harder. It feels like you're being shot with paintballs.
Yes.
Whereas if you just get in a cold plunge, it's like you're just in it.
Yeah.
It's not as.
You feel it all at once.
I have to play music.
Yeah.
I'm like playing music like when I'm in the cold shower. Like it has to be loud. It has to be blaring. I'm just like
Yeah, it's pretty
suffering
pretty
through
rough.
it.
The cold shower is like needles hitting you.
Yeah, especially too if you take like a warm shower and then like I do it at the end. I'll do it like my minute and a half at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't want to turn the. I don't want to turn.
There
It
was
works though.
It
Yeah.
does.
Oh, man, does it
really
work.
does. It wakes you up, makes you feel really good. The tingling sensation, like it sucks while you're in it, but then when you get out, you're like, you just want to be like, whoop.
or going back and forth. Like when we were, I think where were we? We were in like North Carolina somewhere, and they had like a hot tub.
Corolla, yeah.
Corolla,
there
yeah,
was
they
like
had
a
the
hot tub next to the pool, and I think it was like January, and so the
was
pool
freezing.
was like insane, and so we were getting in it and feeling like pins and needles like from our waist down. And
Well,
we'd
we
go
get in the
run
hot
and
tub
get in the hot
first,
tub.
and you get like really hot, and it'd be like, oh, okay, let's get out, and then we would jump in, and then it was like torture.
Yeah,
We were like, just count down 30 seconds, and then get back in, and it was, I mean,
pins and needles.
but after the type of like sleep that you get just from doing that recovery, and you get like a shot of energy from it too. Like when you're doing this, it's just like through the roof.
Yeah.
And now after seeing these guys on YouTube do that, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely gonna try it out at home.
Yeah.
Seems pretty cool.
And there's a reason why people do this stuff. It's not just because it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a purpose.
Like there are major health
Behind the
benefits. I
pain.
mean, if you just think about this, lowering your body temperature very quickly and then your body having to work through thermogenesis to bring your body temperature back up,
Right.
you're literally burning fat.
Yep.
Your body's working and you're not working out. So
Yeah.
yeah, counterintuitive stuff. It's just kind of like eating more protein and carbs, building more muscle will burn more fat at a rested state.
Exactly.
So yeah, eating more makes your body work harder. And if it's good calories and it's hard for your body to break it down, it will work harder than the intake. Eating more. I'm helping people lose weight by eating more.
Oh.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
And the cool, I guess.
And people don't believe it, but
Yeah.
it's the whole foods. If you think about, if you only eat whole foods, it's so much harder to eat a lot more whole foods than it is to eat a lot of junk food. Because the calories that you're getting just through the junk is so easy to just, next thing you're looking at, 4,000 calories in, and you're like, I'm still hungry kind of deal. And you're like, what? How could that?
I'm
if
still
you're
stuck
eating
on
whole-
like the cold shower. I'm still thinking about that. No, too, like, have you ever done cryotherapy?
I haven't.
Okay, that's one thing. Like, you do the
It's pretty
sauna
awesome.
workouts and stuff. You would love it. Like, we really believe in it. Like,
I love it.
we love it. And for the first, we normally go and do like the one where it's like your head is kind of like above it, but it's just like for whole body and super good for like the recovery, but also like collagen, weight loss, stuff like that. Skin
and
elasticity.
the proteins, right? Like
Yeah,
the heat shock proteins and
It's
the
like
cold
the
shock proteins.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of like being in an infrared sauna where you get
Right.
the heat shock proteins. It's like the opposite. And it's what you said. It's like building your immune system, it's doing all these crazy things. Anyways, it's like a really crazy sensation, but it's so good for you and you feel awesome after it. Anyways, normally we do the one where like your head is sticking above it, but after we did the marathon in Florida, we were like, the first thing we did when we finished was went to the cryotherapy place. And they also have this stuff that's called like Normatech Compression.
I saw you doing that where like you put your legs in those sleeves.
Oh my gosh, that is one of the most
I've
my
done
gosh.
that. Yeah.
It's amazing. So we did that, and then we went to do the cryotherapy, and this was like a whole body cryotherapy. So it's like you literally step into like an ice chest, and they close it. And it's like your whole body. So like your nose hairs are freezing. It's like the craziest thing. It's a little kind of scary, and has like this window that like comes down.
That wasn't that scary.
It wasn't that scary, but
It's like being in an MRI or something.
Yeah, kind
Pretty
of.
much.
But you're standing up and you're freezing cold. But anyways, it was super interesting, and if you haven't done it, I definitely recommend trying it because it's a really cool experience, and it's good for you. And if you're an athlete, if you're working out, even if you're not, and it's not for recovery, it has so many good benefits.
It helps with arthritis and joint pain.
So many things. Oh, like sunburn. Like there's a million benefits from it. Yeah, it can help so many things with your skin.
You're like, get a sunburn and then go cryo.
No, it's just something I thought I'd mention.
I've been getting into collagen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I started doing collagen a couple weeks ago, and mainly because I was reading that it helps with joints and stuff like that, and doing the 2 workouts today on 75 hard. I've just been like, my body's just destroyed, and it's really helping my joint issues.
That's what Tom Brady says he uses. That's why he's been playing so long. Is he takes a lot of collagen, and he just like the diet that he has enabled him to be able to, in his 40s, be able to play in the NFL and play well. You know what I mean? So.
But you got to make sure, like, First Form obviously is like a really high quality supplement. So you want to make sure that you're going to take like a high quality, collagen, where it's like coming from. And a lot of people have like different like reactions and stuff to it. Like,
that's
I
crazy.
know like when like we used to do like a smoothie back when we lived in Virginia, there was like a South Block place that did smoothies with I think it was like, I'm kicking myself. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a pretty
the blue
Vital Proteins.
Collagen.
Yeah. So like, and it's made from like the bones animals or whatever. Anyways. And for some people, like you can get like a reaction to it. Like it can give you like cystic acne. You can have like an acne reaction. For me, I never specifically had that. I felt great using it, but something to look into.
And I was sometimes I feel like it's placebo because anytime like I'd go after a workout, I'd have that. I'd be like, oh my gosh, this makes such a difference. And you're like, does it really make a difference, or is it placebo? Well, I think it really does. But I always psych myself out.
Yeah, if you continuously do it, I think it makes a difference.
Right.
I didn't realize there were different types of collagen, like 1, 2, 3, 5, 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the difference of all these different supplements. It'd be like collagen from animals, and you look in and it's like, there's no, it doesn't even tell you what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the First Form, and it literally tells you each type of collagen hits all 5 types or whatever it is.
Yep.
So I got to learn more about collagen. Seems like there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were drinking bone broth before, so I mean, there's a lot of collagen that comes out in the bone broth. So you're getting a good amount there. But I mean,
Hair,
especially
skin,
for
nails.
Yeah. Like
all
the
joints.
that's what I mean. Your skin looks great.
Oh, thank you.
Know what I mean? So it's like
You're
one of those things. Yeah, it's like one of those things. The collagen and the nutrients. That's what it does. It brings all that out. And I don't know if you're doing sauna. You know what I mean? But you're doing the workout. So you're
twice a week at Hot Works.
But that's bringing out all the
that's
impurities. That
it's
helps
huge.
Purify your skin, your body. A lot of the like you said, how you exhale energy. Like your impurities and your stuff comes out in your sweat, so that's huge. It's really good just to go in the infrared sauna, let alone like do. I've never done a workout.
Or you don't have to do infrared. You can do the dry sauna.
Well, there's many different kinds, but infrared has like
the
specific
good properties,
benefits with penetrating your deep into
these
your
are
cells.
infrared.
Yeah.
And
It's a
telling you, if
different
you
kinda
go
heat.
do a spin class, so they have there's three different types of 15-minute cardio blasts. They've got a hot blast, hot thunder, which is the rower,
Oh,
and
that's gracious.
hot cycle. And I'll do 15, 15, 15. Those 45 minutes, 130 degree infrared heat doing cardio. It's exhilarating. You have not lived until you've done that.
Imagine doing a spin
But you would
class.
love that
I
'cause
can't.
every time
the
you-
spin
you-
class crushes me, so I can't even imagine doing it in the heat. But I mean,
The
I don't
spin
know.
class is good. It's sometimes I
I
don't know.
love
Maybe it was just mine. The
I love
seat
it.
was the only thing that was getting me.
It was uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable.
Well, you
when
need
I
to
was up,
get your
and
butt
I was
out
like,
the seat then.
Yeah, you got to be up out of the
Get out
saddle.
of the seat. Yeah, exactly. They're like, get out of the saddle, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. But then we'd go back, and then like there was just the thing where they're like, sit down, get up, sit down, get
You gotta
up.
find your rhythm. You love it.
Yeah. No, but I was gonna say you would love, you know what I mean, to do like those workouts in the heat because you really like to like sweat.
yeah,
like I have no problem sweating.
I like sweating.
We're in the warm up, and I'm already sweating. Shannon's like, how are you?
Yeah,
how are
you
you
sweat
doing this?
so easily. I don't know. I'm like, it's good for you.
But in the heat, I feel like that's when you'd just be like just drenched.
Yeah, some people hate sweating. I don't mind it. I like it. I kind of like you know, and
Yeah.
get that drip sweat during your workout.
Kind of
It's incredible.
I don't mind it.
If you're gonna do a sauna workout, bring a change of clothes because like I walk outside and do that at like 5 a.m. and it's 10 degrees and my shirt's frozen to me when I get to the car. I can't do this again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, that's
Especially now in the cold. You know
I'll
what I
get
mean? Like
you
having to walk from. It's
the
wild.
gym to your car.
So this is something and I know we probably don't have much time left, but this is one thing I was thinking about as far as like the workouts. Do you think every single time that you go and you work out, you have to like hit another level?
No.
Another level.
You know what I mean?
I'm like an all or nothing person. So I'll be like, I'm just going to go into this workout super like chill, like super calm. By the end, I'm like, it's 45 minutes in. I got the 15-pound dumbbells. I'm like dead. I'm like laying on the floor. And I'm like, I thought I was going to take it easy. I just can't do it. But I don't think that's a good thing. I don't know. What's your guys' perspective?
Justin says no. Justin, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, well, I think it depends what your purpose is for that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes it's heavy weight. Sometimes it's just elongating your muscles and in a therapeutic way, just getting movement, stretching, you know.
Right.
Like there are ways to lift weights and stretch at the same time, you know. And that's like, I'm telling you, because I've lifted weights traditionally for so many years, and then I go do something like Hot Works, and it's all body weight. And I'm getting more sore from that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I literally crippled from yoga?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yoga will surprise you.
It's just wherever you think you're strong or whatever, go do something different, and it will expose the weaknesses that you have.
Yep. Yeah, we were doing the Muay Thai training.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even lift my leg. Like I'm watching these guys literally kick the top of the bag, pop, 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 and I'm like, my hips are so tight. But then I thought it was a stretching thing, right? And they were like, no, your glutes and the part that you actually
your muscles are so weak. You
right.
can't even do
and
the
I'm there like, you know, like obviously like I
training.
took offense to that. I'm like, weak. What do you mean? I do squats. I could do 30 squats right now. Like, what are you saying? And he's like, no, just like the area of where you're actually picking up your leg is just a little bit weak. So it's so true. Like if you're doing something and you get consistent at it and you get good at it, it's probably time to switch it up, right? To try something else, because then it's like your body gets that shock. And that's so important. So, you know, if you're doing a diet, if you're not doing a diet, if you're eating right, but it's always important to kind of shock your body so that it doesn't get used to, because then it won't burn the same amount of, it'll just fall into like and it's not a rut, but it's like it'll plateau.
It'll get used to it, yeah.
It plateaus at a certain point.
Your body will get used to that pressure that you're putting on it, that stress, and it'll start to respond, and then you got to introduce something new.
That's how you develop imbalances and end up injured too.
Yep. And that's the one thing I think that
so
was
important.
hard. Yeah, it was so hard for me though.
Getting injured.
It's because I'm one of those people too. Like when I'm in the workout, and probably because I work out with you, right? Where it's like we're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take it easy, nice and light, and then all of a sudden I look to the left and I'm getting competitive because she's there like trying to rep it, and I'm like, oh no, like now I have to go into it as well. And so it's like one of those things where I'm always thinking it's like, hey, like kind of like Justin, it's like I don't know if it's necessarily the best thing to do in terms of like recovery, because hitting that certain point every single time, maybe 3 times a week, right? But if you're working out, you know, like daily or you know what I mean, like weekly or
hitting
something
one
like
point, like redlining, like you're like,
no, I'm not talking about you, because your heart rate should always kind of like, I think in like Orange Theory, they have those things where they can like, you know, track your heart rate. And you're supposed to get into the red for a little bit, right? You're supposed to orange and red and then come back down. I mean, like, you know, like just going into the workout and trying to hit another level every single time. Like you're always like, okay, if I did this many, this next time I'm going to do X amount more and
overload, progressive overload.
Right.
Okay.
So I look at it a little differently. It's not that I'm trying to go harder. I'm just trying to go with a different intent to get a better result. So it might be, well, it's heavy this week, but the next time I do it, it might be, well, maybe I'm changing the tempo,
doing more reps.
lower weight, whatever it is. And I could probably get more sore from intentionally doing an exercise that way and then get a bigger benefit. I mean, however you break muscles down and rebuild them is really the goal. So I don't know. It depends how you define it, right? But
that's interesting. Yeah, because I guess like you either go into it with that mindset, or you're thinking about it like, okay, and then specifically too, like a lot of times, like I do the same workout, like I follow like, you know, like a workout, but it's the same thing. So I guess if you do it multiple times, you're like, well, you know, if you got 15 reps the one time, you're trying to like up that the next time. But if you just looked at it from a different perspective, or changed your weight, or changed the tempo, that could kind of switch things up too. So that's interesting.
I'm not a PR guy.
I'll have to consider.
Like I will never know again in my life how much I can bench press, how much I can squat, how much I can deadlift, because I just believe that that's how you get injured, destroy your joints, and that's not a healthy long-term thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just really not about heavy weight.
Yep. I mean, when you look at the blue zones, you find that the people that live in these zones where they live the longest, their main exercise is walking.
Walking's
Right?
huge.
They're
Body
walking
weight is huge too.
body weight exercises and just doing walking. So even just walking 15,
What's
30
the
minutes a
5
day.
pillars? Squat, hinge, push, pull,
Abs.
core.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Core.
So yeah, and again, those are all body weight exercises: pull-ups, push-ups. A squat, body weight squat. Those are all things you can do without equipment, and
we'd
some
see,
of the best exercises.
when we lived in Hawaii, you'd see people, like these older people that would just be
Oh, yeah.
crushing it on
Well,
pull-ups.
no, too. The
and you're
out,
like,
the outdoor little fitness areas, like you don't
Yeah.
see them as much now, but like there, it was like
It's all over
everyone
the
was
place.
there. It was like a group of people like working out outside. I think
all
that's super
all
cool.
kinds of ages, and the people that would inspire you the most is
The
like
older people.
yeah, like you'd see like a 70, 80-year-old guy out there and
Doing
he's just
pull-ups.
cranking boom, boom, boom. You're like, what? I can only do 10.
Yeah.
I can only do 5 now. And like it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's intriguing that once you find out that like they're doing is like things for longevity. It's minor sort of like body weight
Simple
things,
movements.
like, but it's consistent. It's
Yeah.
every day, and these guys are probably going surfing right after. So it's like you know what I mean. Like it's all of these things that you're just so active,
A lifestyle, active
Right.
lifestyle.
but super important.
That'll do it.
Because going to high school, growing up, you think that how much weight can you put on the bar and all those kind of things. And I was never really one of those guys that was like like a senior year, I think it was my best year, and it was like 300. That was like the max. I was like, you think
vein is
you
popping
think your
out of
vein
your
is popping out of
neck.
your neck. You're like, I'm nice, and you're like, what? Then the seniors come in and they're like, or the next year you're like, that's nothing. You're like, dang it, keep working. But as you go on, like you said,
You
body
learn.
weight, that kind of
grow.
stuff, it's longevity wise. But I think those things also like it builds testosterone, lifting heavy weights and doing stuff
100%.
like that, right? So
But
Yeah.
there's a curve of everything. It's
Right.
like you want to have heavy weight on your body, but not so heavy that you are decrepit in your old age because you
Yes.
destroyed your body.
it's true.
Yeah.
So
That's who I look up to too. Like, I mean, like Joe Rogan's just like one of them, but I mean, he does like some MMA and some like pretty intense stuff. But who's the other guy who does like the workouts? We always used to do his workouts on YouTube. He's like a real older gentleman. He's super like jacked. He did the kettlebell workout. Anyways, I can't remember his name, but
Chuck Norris.
no, that's another good one. But no, like these, like those are people that I look up to. People who are like they're like in their like 60s, 50s, 70s.
I know who
whatever.
you're talking about.
And
yeah.
they're like they're doing like these workouts, but they're like, you know what I mean? They're obviously longevity was important to them, and they're still doing it now, and they've been doing it for 30, 40 plus years. They obviously they got something right. So but
Yeah. I think we kind of see it for most people. It goes backwards. The older they get, the more unhealthy and the more they deteriorate.
yeah.
But I kind of see it as it should be the opposite, because as your education gets better
Right.
and your accountability should get better, you should be getting more
Discipline.
mature as you get older. Your health span should kind of close the gap with your lifespan. And I see a lot of people that look better and better as they get older and older.
Especially now. Because I think, like you said, the education is out there. So I don't think we've ever seen, like I mentioned Tom Brady, I don't think we've ever seen an athlete
Oh, yeah.
that's doing those kind of things. Or like now these top tier athletes, they have all this information. They know exactly, because playing a sport and doing those, it just depends on like, again, what your goals are. But playing a sport isn't healthy. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, doing the crazy weights and throwing your body into these kind of things. But it's like the gladiator mentality. You're going to do it for so long. And then after that, that's when you got to start really dialing in terms of like recovery, what you're eating and all those kind of things, because you're not going to last. If you look at like players from the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s, before they had the education, a lot of these guys are dealing with, they still are dealing with like huge knee issues and shoulder pain, and you know what I mean? Like they're on all kinds of different medications because of the things they did to their body. Whereas now you look at these athletes and they're like, they're coming out, they look a lot better because they're eating right. They're doing the recovery. They're doing all these exercises. So it's super important.
Yeah.
They're using the resources. Some
Right.
people do, some people don't. It's out there for all of us.
I feel like we could go on for days.
Should we wrap this one up?
I
Yep.
think so.
Oh, let's give a quick mention of the top tier subject, Mastermind.
Yep.
So top tier Mastermind, Justin, you want to, I think it's Monday.
Yeah, so we'll be on Monday, 8 p.m. again. If you are not in the top tier mastermind group, send me a DM. I will invite you to the group. It's a closed private group for those who take accountability for their life. Yeah, I just love saying that. I think this week the topic's going to be what to eat. Last week we learned how to eat. This week we're going to talk about what to eat. So we want some collaboration here. So bring the strategies that work for you, how you've been eating, if you've been counting macros, what are the things that you eat? What are some substitutes for bad food? Better choices. I'll bring my suggestions. Everybody bring your suggestions, and we'll have a great conversation about how to eat or what to eat, and we'll keep this thing going.
Sweet.
Definitely. And the link is in the description. So if you want to get signed up, we'll go ahead and send you the link for Monday's Zoom meeting. And with that, I think, Justin, you can send us off.
Yep.
All right. We'll be back again next Thursday. And as always, stay healthy with Heartland.